Great. Thank you very much, Tad. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Pillar 2, Marketing and Networking. And this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most exciting pillars. And the reason is this is what allows us to determine who we work with, allows us to determine the kind of work that we do, and it allows us to attract those ideal clients that really make it worthwhile coming to work in the morning. So the goal should be, I really love my job. I love coming to work, whether we're an employee or an owner. But if we're the owner, the great news is we can shape our firm deliberately. And I think the most important piece of that is picking who we want to work with. So about me, just very quickly, I'm an author and educator. I'm a consultant to the accounting industry. I provide one-on-one coaching. I provide group coaching. And I like to do some consultation to small to mid-sized firms, and I'm a technology agitator. What I do is I research the technology out there and I help my clients implement that technology. Before I became full-time consultant and coach, I spent 25 years in the trenches doing taxes, all that wonderful stuff. So I've been there, done that. And I'm a huge fan of social media, and I strongly recommend any firm of any size that's looking to grow, consider social media as a great option for you. Now, I won't go into detail, but last week we talked about operations and operational efficiency. Today we're going to talk about marketing and networking, and then in coming sessions we're going to talk about the sales process. We're going to go further into niche development, which we'll introduce today. We'll talk about pricing, how you can add some value, whether it's value pricing that you implement or fixed price agreements. We'll have one session completely focused on technology. For the record, everything I do is focused on technology, but that one session is pure technology. Then we'll talk about other services you can offer. And last but not least, we wrap up with practice management. So the key to all that I do, and I talk about technology, and I want to give you the caveat. A lot of people hear me speaking about technology and they think, wow, great, I can automate things and I never have to talk to my clients again. That's not true, completely false. My goal with technology is you automate the repetitive, mindless stuff like chasing paper, dealing with, high-level questions. You want to automate as much as you can so that you can actually spend time building relationships. So in terms of building relationships, pillar 2 is the cornerstone. This is where we actually start to tell our story. So today we're going to cover, I'll just give you a high-level overview of marketing options. I'll give you some ideas on what an ideal client should look like. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about networking, because realistically, networking is something where I believe we can really make immediate results in our business. And networking is really good if you're a partner in a smaller firm, if you're sole proprietor, and honestly, it works right up to, I would say, the national firm level. But if you're a solopreneur and you're looking for immediate clients, networking is probably one of the fastest ways to do it in the real world. I do occasionally have sessions, and we'll talk about that a little later. Online networking can also be very effective, so we'll get to that. But that's the hope of what we'll cover today. I'll go fairly quickly. If there's questions throughout, I'll try and answer them. If I'm going to cover it later, I'll say we'll get to that later. If it's a long-winded answer, I'll leave it right till the end. So my goal is we'll finish at about 10:02, and we'll leave 10 minutes for questions. If there's a lot of questions throughout, then we'll finish right at the top of the hour. Before we jump in, there is a question: are people able to access Pillar 1? The answer I'll give is I believe so. Tad, if you could answer that to everyone in the live, in the chat box or the Q&A box. I think Tad will have to share a link for that.
Yes, it's not there yet, and I'll explain why in the chat box, but we're getting it there. It should be there in a couple of days.
Great. Thank you, Ted. Okay. So, first question I always get from accountants, actually, it's never a question, it's a statement. The statement I get from accountants is marketing's a waste of my time. I don't want to learn how to be a marketer. I'm an accountant, not in marketing. Okay, so that's three statements, but basically those are the things I almost always hear from accountants. Now I'm going to flip that around, and when I ask accountants, what's your biggest problem in your practice? Usually it's finding new clients or finding new good clients. Usually it's finding new clients because most accountants aren't that picky. We're happy to get a client, so we'll take what we can get. I'm here to say, and again, I was an accountant for 25 years, worked in public practice, ran my own firm. You can't be in public practice if you don't have some sort of marketing mechanism. Now, most accountants I know have the default of the profession, which is I rely on my client base for referrals. If that's the case, and you want to just type in the chat box, I want this to be very interactive. So if you rely on referrals and that's pure and simple, your 100% source for new clients, can you just type yes in the chat box? Again, I'm not taking track of this. I just want to see. And if you have other areas that you use, I want you to type an emphatic no, all caps with an exclamation point. So just use the chat box. Oh, we got two no's. A bunch of no's. I'm impressed. One not applicable. So I'm curious about that one. We'll come back to that. So let me maybe give you a little bit of perspective. I'm impressed. There's a lot of no's, and I'm guessing the ones that didn't answer are yeses and don't want to admit it. Again, I'm not judging. So one of the things I'll point out is if you're currently getting all the client leads you want, all the referrals you need, you know with certainty how many new client referrals you'll get this year, absolutely referrals work. And one of the things, if I'm talking to people and they want to grow quickly, I strongly recommend put a referral system into your current practice where you're deliberately asking clients for client referrals. Now, the problem I have with most people with referrals is there's no system, there's no plan, there's no consistency, and we're really just hoping that our clients like us enough to bring us new clients. So again, if you are relying on referrals, great place to start, but it's not the end of it. Okay, so I'll get off my soapbox for a second. First, I think it helps if we define what marketing means to us. So in my context, I want marketing to focus on telling our story. So again, whether we're a small firm, big firm, whatever size we are, we have a story to tell. So if we're a large firm, the story is probably going to revolve around we're a large firm, we work with multinational corporations, we can help them solve these problems. We're big like you, we understand your big problems. If we're a small firm, this is where it gets exciting. Our message can be a lot more personal. So for example, I see a lot of firms that are starting to market. One of the first things they do is they'll list their passions. So I know one firm that was very passionate. One of the owners loved bicycle racing. So he listed on the website, I love bicycle racing. I ride in all of these charity events for bicycles where bike racing is part of it. And really, they tell the story around their passion. Believe it or not, one small firm, they loved animals. Every single person working in the firm had multiple pets, just a weird coincidence. But what they did is they all put their names on the site, and then they said, oh, by the way, I'm a pet lover. Here's my favorite pet, and here's why. And what it did was people out in the real world would read these and say, wow, I want to work with this firm because I happen to have a dog that I really like, and they're dog lovers too, so they must be good people. But the key is, if you're passionate about a charity or a business cause, whatever it is that you're passionate about, make sure that that's represented on your website. And we'll get to that in a bit. But the idea is we want as many ways for people to connect with us as possible. So marketing is telling our story and reaching the audience that we want to reach. So I'm not a big fan of mass media because it reaches the masses. It's hard to target. But if we know what we actually sell, and again, let's participate in the chat box, if you would. What do we as accountants sell? And I love asking this question because I'm always surprised by the answers. But what do you think it is that we actually sell? And try to think beyond the obvious, but I'll take any answer.